In the US, there are over 15,000 mattress stores. That's more stores than McDonald's. Yet, they're always empty, and you'll buy maybe 2 or 3 in your entire life. In many cities like Cherville, Indiana, you can often find 4 or 5 mattress stores on a single street, all with the biggest sale of the year sign in the window. How do these stores stay in business? Are they a front for money laundering? Well, the truth isn't that far off.
Mattress firm has now filed for bankruptcy.
Marcus Juster has died by suicide.
First, we need to understand why mattress stores exist in the first place. There's not a store for doors or showers or curtains, so why are mattresses the exception? In 1931, Louis Acker, an expert mattress maker, opened the Midwest Mattress Store in Brooklyn. Back then, beds were just sold in big furniture stores, often crammed into the corners as an afterthought. The high society of the early 1900s often felt socially awkward lying down in front of others, which made buying a mattress a stressful and unpleasant experience. Having a dedicated and quiet store with a range of options made the shop highly successful. Louis' sons, Harry and Melvin, eventually took over the store after his death and rebranded to the Sleepies we know today. By 1985, they had expanded to 32 locations and were dominating the market. But that would all change in 1986, when Harry, Paul, and Steve, the exact names of people you'd expect to be in the mattress industry, opened the very first mattress firm in Houston, Texas. They were working at Steve's brother-in-law's store and realized how inefficiently it was being run. They knew they could do better. With Mattress Firm, they trained their salesmen to be deeply knowledgeable, not just in mattresses, but in sleep. They invented a color system, arranging mattresses into either yellow, orange, red, green, or blue, depending on if you were a side sleeper, a back sleeper, or a front sleeper. And they incorporated hidden psychology, such as the butt brush effect and the decompression zone. By keeping the entrance unobstructed and wide, shoppers would naturally feel welcomed into the store. But more importantly, they kept their aisles as wide as possible. Research showed that many shoppers, mostly women, would immediately abandon an item and often leave the store entirely if they felt their personal space was being interrupted or someone could brush past them from behind. That's why stores today have empty, vast floor plans. In just 13 years, Mattress Firm had over 250 stores and hit $350 million in revenue. The boys were ready to cash out and sold to Sun Capital for an undisclosed amount in 2002. Private equity firm J.W. Childs would later acquire them in 2007 for $450 million. With Mattress Firm, they had one simple goal, and over the next few years, they'd go on $1 billion spending spree, buying Mattress Giant, Sleep Experts, Sleep Train, Mattress Pros, Sleep America, and eventually Sleepies, eliminating any competition. Instead of closing down the stores, they just replaced the signs. You could find multiple mattress firms across the street from each other. Analysts claimed this was a billboard tactic. When someone eventually did need a new mattress, they'd naturally go straight to Mattress Firm. By 2016, there were over 3,500 mattress firms. It seemed like they were thriving. That same year, German furniture giant Steinhoff purchased the company, this time for $3.8 billion. Paying a 115% premium, it looked like aggressive expansion, but something wasn't adding up. Steinhoff was founded in 1964 by German businessman Bruno Steinhoff. He began buying cheap furniture in East Germany and selling it for a premium in the West. Steinhoff became Germany's biggest furniture manufacturer and eventually merged with Gamma Gamma, led by Marcus Justi in 1998. Together, they owned 40 massive retail brands, including Conforama in Europe and Benson's for Beds in the United Kingdom. Just 1 year after purchasing Mattress Firm, Steinhoff's auditors, Deloitte, refused to sign off on their financial statements. They were placed under investigation, and on December 5th, at 4:32 a.m., Marcus Justi sent an email saying he had made some big mistakes and abruptly resigned. Overnight, Mattress Firm lost all financial support, and this would expose their biggest secret. In 2019, it was found Marcus had orchestrated $7.4 billion in fake revenue over 8 years. Bleeding money, Mattress Firm had to carefully evaluate their entire business model. Everything led to one question. Why do we have 3,500 stores? The answer was greed. Property developers would kindly give Vice Presidents Bruce and Ryan luxury yachts, expensive watches, diamond jewelry, trips on private jets. In return, they'd sign leases to thousands of stores they couldn't afford. Bruce and Ryan were of course fired, and Mattress Firm was forced to file for bankruptcy. For Steinhoff, they were liquidated in 2023, and Marcus passed away aged 63 before facing any jail time. Mattress Firm weren't ready to die. In desperation, they brought on a new CEO, John Eck. John closed 700 stores overnight and pulled them out of bankruptcy in just 48 days. But just as they found their footing, they would face an entirely different threat. In the mid-2010s, e-commerce was booming. Amazon had fundamentally changed the psychology of buying online, and with the rise of smartphones, the global e-commerce industry reached $1 trillion. However, the physical mattress industry felt invincible. People still wanted to test what they'd lie on for the next 20 years before buying. Then a team of 5 entrepreneurs launched Casper's, one of the first purely online mattress stores. They exposed the shady secrets of physical stores and took advantage of their strongest tool: marketing. Before online stores, manufacturers would produce the exact same mattress but give a unique name to each store. They'd also create thousands of computer-generated images for each model. You'd go to one store and look at the Dream Sleep 8000 for $399 and look at another store at the Posture Perfect 3000 for $899, but they're the exact same. It made it impossible to price match. But Casper's, they stocked just one model, which was said to be the perfect bed. They burned through $420 million, bringing on celebs like Kylie Jenner and Leonardo DiCaprio. They made mattresses cool. To combat the anxiety of buying online, they offered a 100-night sleep trial. If you didn't like it, a local charity would come and pick it up. Millennials fell in love. In just 28 days, Casper hit $1 million in sales. Mattress Firm sales plummeted by almost 20%. They immediately launched their own online store and were forced to become more transparent. Instead of competing with Casper, they stocked their bed. They took a big hit. Casper split the market in half, but ultimately people still need to try before they buy. On February 5th, 2025, Tempur Sealy, the globe's biggest bedding manufacturer, purchased Mattress Firm for $5 billion. The entire industry, from manufacturing through to delivery, is now owned by one company. So how are mattress stores worth $50 billion, and how do over 15,000 manage to stay open? Human behavioral patterns show roughly 90% of people will turn right and walk counterclockwise around the store. In the late 80s, stores exploited this by taking shoppers on a strategic and calculated journey through the store. They'd start with placing their $500 budget models at the start of this line, followed by the luxury $6,000 plus models, before landing on the ones they actually wanted to sell, the $1,000 to $2,000 models. By the time customers reached the end of the line, the prices seemed very reasonable. A mattress is just foam and springs. They're one of the most profitable items in retail. The normal models cost around $200 to manufacture. They're sold for a 200% markup, and as they're a once-a-decade purchase, these prices are just justified. A store only needs to sell about 20 to 30 mattresses a month to make a profit. If they sell over 50, they're making $1 million. And considering over 30 million people buy a new mattress every single year, demand never runs dry. Sometimes, simple businesses win. So now you have all the tools you need to become a mattress billionaire.